Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, our production Gore call in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out important news. With us today, happy to have him for the first time, Richard Murphy, CEO of Manitou Gold, trades on the venture under MTU, and for our friends in the US under MNTUF. For those who are new to the story, and that's going to be most of you, pay attention because Manitou controls 100% of the Goudreau project in Northern Ontario, where they're accelerating exploration in search of Canada's next gold discovery and maybe even a mine. Now, that may sound like what a lot of juniors like to say, but here's what you need to know. They're not doing it alone. They're supported by two majors. Alamos Gold, a $4 billion producer, owns 19.99% of the company. OIII Mining and a Cisco Group company owns 9.99%. And they're both assisting Manitou on the balance sheet and in the boardroom. What does that mean? Well, the chief operating officer of Alamos is a director of Manitou. The CFO of OIII Mining is a director of Manitou, and both companies participated in the recent $5 million financing, maintaining their pro rata ownership of the company. That should tell you a lot. Why they're doing it? Well, here's a little overview, and then we're going to talk about it with Richard. The area hosts two multi-million-ounce gold deposits, the Alamos Gold high-grade Island Mine and the Argonaut Gold $380 million Magino planned open pit gold mine and processing mill that's going to be ready to go for 2023. Richard, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Hey, today's press release, because it's beyond the press release. Manitou Gold triples the size of 2021 drilling program on their Baltimore Deformation Zone to 30,000 meters. I mean, that's massive. But before we talk about the specifics of it, here's what I want to ask you. Most companies, most juniors would be thrilled if they had just one major as an owner or direct or on their board or both. You have two. What drew the likes of Alamos Gold and OIII Mining to be so intricately involved with Manitou?
Well, George, over the past 4 years, we were assembling a land package that we've now completed. It's 350 square kilometers. It's bookended between operating and past producing mines. So on the west end, we've got the Island Gold Mine of Alamos, the Magino open pit development owned by Argonaut Gold, and on the east end, we're bookended by the past producing Renabi mine, which is owned by Barrick Gold.
Wow, that's an unbelievable neighborhood. How were you guys able to put together this land package right in the middle of giants? Because even though both these Alamos is involved with you, Cisco's involved with you, I'm assuming they would have loved to get their hands on this first. What does that say about your team that you guys were able to put this together?
Well, when we started, we did it quietly. We didn't have a big budget to start drilling or anything right away. So we were doing it sort of stepwise, boots on the ground, confirming things. It took us seven different acquisitions with mom and pop in cases of some of the smaller properties, 4 different corporate deals. And at the time when we began, actually Alamos was not an owner. They didn't own the Island Gold Mine. They purchased that in 2017 with the takeout of Richmond to the tune of almost $1 billion Canadian dollars.
What is it that you saw there that obviously now has got the attention of a lot of people? What did you guys see 4 years ago? What's your theory on what you may have there? Because you're in search of Canada's next gold discovery and maybe even a mine. And I'm assuming you don't say that lightly. What do you think you got there?
Well, the key is the Goudreau Deformation Zone. This is the deformation zone, big crustal scale structure. It hosts 3 past producing mines, being the Klein, Edwards, Magino. Magino is being redeveloped now as an open pit, and the operating mine at Island Gold. That thing extends for in excess of 20 kilometers and is truncated on its east end by an offsetting fault. And then it continues further east, but it's got a different name because of the geography. It's called the Baltimore Deformation Zone. That was available when we began. So we put together what we could around the Goudreau Deformation Zone, And when the timing was right, we snatched up all the land covering the Baltimore Deformation Zone. That's where we're really focused with all this money we recently raised, started drilling on it beginning of this year. That's what we see as, the lottery ticket where we have multiple shots at finding $1 billion deposit.
And your theory is correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is these two zones may be part of an original single zone?
Absolutely. There's a fault in the center of it. It offsets. I mean, if you work out the displacement on the fault, these two deformation zones, they fit back together. It's single one. It's similar scale to sort of the Porcupine Destor main break. Crustal scale, a lot of gold, so it's a very pregnant system. And the Baltimore Deformation Zone, we own 18 kilometers of this along strike.
How big of a help is it to have Alamos and OIII on your board helping guide? And I'm assuming they're helping you, they're helping guide you guys through this. And again, maybe correct me there if I'm wrong, but how helpful is it to have them there as part of the team trying to figure all this out?
Well, tremendous help, and it comes in three forms. First, then obviously, is from a financial perspective. They purchased shares to become owners in their company. That helped out from a treasury perspective and enabled us to get the ball rolling in terms of getting our drill targets lined up and start the drill program. Secondly, they both have board representation. The chief financial officer from OIII Mining and Osisko Mining, and the chief operating officer from Alamos Gold. They provide good insight and direction at the board level. And then finally, on the technical level, we have strong participation from both Alamos and OIII Mining, and we get access to some brilliant people there. And they give us tremendous support and guidance when it comes to the exploration. And think of it this way: Alamos is spending $25 million just this year in exploration adjacent to us. They've spent similar levels invested in exploration over the last several years to the tune of almost $100 million to the state. So to put it simply, they know an awful lot about the geology in this area. And, we work very closely with their exploration team and including their VP exploration.
And I was about to ask that question. You guys can be sharing info because at the end of the day, you are two separate companies, but I guess there's a real interest there in sharing knowledge and information.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know it's a tremendous asset for us. And I like to think that we help them out a little bit too. I mean, we're exploring part of the belt that, they wouldn't otherwise have any exposure to. So it's in their best interest to, nudge us in the right direction.
Today's press release, you've tripled the size of your 2021 drilling program. I mean, 10,000 meters is already a pretty good size drilling program, but you tripled it to 30,000 meters. What was the catalyst to that decision? What was the aha moment where your team said, "Hey, we got to triple this," and continuous drill results right through the first quarter of 2022? Unbelievable.
That's right. Well, early in this year, during the winter, we started a very broad, detailed geophysical surveys, magnetics, induced polarization surveys covering the western 10 kilometers of this Baltimore Deformation Zone. We're now starting to get a significant amount of those results back. We've got numerous incredibly attractive target areas we have to drill. So when we're in a position, both financially and technically, to make that commitment to do this 30,000 meters, and that's the start. As circumstances change, based on news flow and results, we will potentially be making significant increases to this 30,000 meters as well.
So safe to say the early indicators tell you you're on to something. Let's triple this and let's really, pardon the pun, let's really blast through this.
Absolutely. Yeah, we did this based on the technical fundamentals. We have the targets, they're shaping up perfectly. Some of these areas, like from a geological and geophysical perspective, they're just begging to be drilled. So, we made the commitment, we're going to drill them all.
By the time you're done, And again, it says here, the drill program is anticipated to provide continuous drill results through the first quarter of 2022. By the time you're done, do you think you'll have enough? I mean, you're never going to have the ultimate amount of information, but will you have more than enough information under your belt to start making some determinations as to what you've got there?
Well, tough to predict the future, but I'm very optimistic based on what we know. And again, from a geological, geophysical, and geochem perspective, some of these targets are in an area, I mean, it's never been drilled historically. I mean, just that fact is very rare. I mean, where can you find a pregnant, gold pregnant crustal scale break in a mining jurisdiction like Ontario that hasn't been drilled literally for 10 kilometers of strike? So I'm pretty sure that we're going to get some good surprises. And the way we're set up, we can very quickly do the step out and infill drilling required to put a handle on something, potential size. For example, some of the drilling we've recently announced, our last step out hole was a 200-meter down plunge step out. So we got some pretty smart guys figured out what's the likely plunge and everything else. We drilled the hole 300 meters vertical successfully. And the next step out we drilled was down to 500 meters, and we tagged the same ore zone. And I like to think that if we get into something in this next 10-kilometer portion of the Baltimore Deformation Zone, we'll go at it pretty aggressively in the same sort of a way.
Will you be drilling your highest priority targets right off the bat, or you got to be more methodical in how you do this and maybe more linear?
No, we're going to go in terms of priority and logistics. But yeah, first priority holes are going to be drilled first. If we happen to have something that's in proximity to a high priority hole, we'll probably test it as we're going by, sort of thing. But certainly, yeah, we're going to have a large basket of top rate picks, and we're just going to go through that top rate pick list. And actually, I should mention, that's something that we're not creating in a vacuum ourselves. We're working very closely with our strategic shareholders, both in the Cisco Group and Alamos, and we will be basically creating our target picks with the input of their technical teams.
So with all that teed up, then the next logical question is, when does the program begin, and when do you expect the first set of continuous results to start coming out? Because now you've got everybody interested in saying, okay, we got to watch this.
We've just come through the spring breakup period where the ground was mucky and soft, and we suspended for a matter of a few weeks our drilling just so we weren't making a mess out of the bush. We recommenced literally 3 days ago.
Okay.
And so I'm happy to report that, core is flowing into the core shack. It's being logged and samples are being sawn, and it'll be delivered to the lab. So I would anticipate in the next few weeks that news flow, the pump will be primed, the news flow will begin, and it should be more or less continuous every few weeks, approximately, through the remainder of the year, well into the next year.
So starting a few weeks, and then every 3 to 4 weeks, expect that kind of cadence, ballpark, 3 to 4, exactly. 3 to 5 weeks, that kind of cadence.
Yes.
What's the ultimate goal here, Richard? So that's amazing. So I can't ask you more because, like I said, you can't predict what's going to happen. So now we're going to have to wait. If everything goes well, and that doesn't mean everything goes perfect because nothing goes perfect, but if everything goes well and as expected, what's the ultimate plan? Do you guys want to build a mine there and you guys operate it and go big, or do you get to a point where, or is the plan to get to a point where a major comes along and takes it out?
Well, we're explorationists. We're not mining guys. We don't have that particular expertise. I think we do have some particular expertise when it comes to mineral exploration and assembling important land packages. So in the past, with my own experience, we've gone from discovery, resource estimation, right through pre-feasibility, converting resources into reserves, and you put a valuation on the project, and hopefully the bidders are lined up. That's our best case scenario. Is, we have a project where we've been able to drill off a resource, we could put a value on it, and let the bidding begin.
All right, so we'll leave it at that because I think we've got just about everything we can at this stage. Cannot wait to have you back, Richard, in a few weeks. And from the sounds of it, you and I are going to get very well acquainted in 2021 into 2022. I can see us doing a steady one of these every month, give or take a week or so, depending on what drill results come out. So wishing you and the entire team fantastic luck with this. We're all waiting to see what happens and can't wait to have you back.
Well, thank you very much. I look forward to delivering some news and catching up with you once we've got news to talk about here.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
For everybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, or your favorite podcast platform, to Richard Murphy. He's CEO of Manitou Gold, trades on the Venture Exchange under MTU. And for our friends in the US, MNTUF. You see those stock symbols right there above Richard said. For those of you who are new, this is the part where you guys start your due diligence. And 2 ways to do that is as follows. 1, get to the Manitou Gold Hub on Agoracom. The profile page there has a perfect summary, a great 30,000, I might even say 10,000 foot view of the company's assets, what it's doing, its partnerships, owners, all they're neatly wrapped up for you as one great summary. Once you've got that under your belt, because we think that's important to get that core foundation, then go over to this over to the company's site, which obviously you can get to from Agoracom, or you can see it again right on the screen, ManitouGold.com, to do your deeper dive due diligence. Given the fact that gold once again is on the move, and we see plenty of talk in the US about inflation concerns, inflation worries, it behooves everyone watching this. Doesn't matter if you're a traditional resource investor or if you're a small cap investor, you've got to be taking a close look at the junior gold sector, and Manitou Gold is a fantastic place to start. Do your due diligence. Don't say we didn't tell you so. Have a great day. See you next time.